It's time for communicating. Yeah, it's time for communicating. Yes, it is Jackson 360. I am your platform partner, and we're about to get into some boss talk. How can you communicate like an authority? How can you communicate like a leader and talk like a boss? Now, this is a very, very important video, and I had to do this because I get a lot of emails, a lot of questions of people asking me from people that are in a relation, that are looking to start relationships, people that are trying to date, and they want to come off more like an authoritative person. Also people who are entrepreneurs and they want to sell their books or sell themselves when they're out and about in the public or they're doing presentations. How can I sound more like an authority? So I want to give you some quick points. I'm going to give you 10 points really quick. I'm not going to go into super detail, but I'm going to give you 10 quick points, and this will be part 1 of this series because Boss Talk is a much extended series. If y'all want to see more out of 10, we'll go from there. But let's get directly into it. So first of all, the very first point when it comes to Boss Talk is I want you to keep this in mind, is that you got to think like a boss first. And this is how bosses don't waste time. They don't waste time because they value time. So when you're communicating with time in mind. So you do not want to be wasting time. So that brings me to my first point. My first point is get to the point. When you're speaking with someone, you don't want to be just rambling, going on and on. You want to get directly to the point of what you're trying to talk about, what you want to try to talk to. So that way you can, because keep in mind, communication is about progressing so that you can get to another point, right? It's if I'm talking to you on the phone, ultimately the phone conversation is supposed to lead for me either getting something, giving something, or we scheduling the next appointment, right? So this is why we want to get to the point so we can get the progress moving forward. That's very, very, very important. All right. So speaking of that, let's get into it. So getting to the point is the very first thing. Don't waste time and get directly to the point of what you're talking about. Now, when you're getting to the point, that doesn't mean you can't ask people about their family, right? You can still ask people about that. In fact, sometimes that's good. You can say, man, how's your family doing? How's the job doing? Because you do want to show people that you're concerned, but you don't want to ramble. After you ask them something general about because people don't care about what you have to say until they know you care. So ask people something general just to see that you do care about their well-being, and then get to the point of why you're talking, why you're calling them on the phone, why are you here, what are you going to be talking about in your video, and get straight to it. That's one. Second, now the second point is you want to set the pace, set the tone of what you're about to talk about. And this is very important. So if you do this one, this can change everything. So the second thing is you want to set the tone, and this is how you set the tone. So let's say you're about to go into a meeting and you're about to call someone over the phone. You want to tell them and give them a parameter, a time parameter, and say, listen, I only have 10 minutes. I'm actually getting ready to run. I'm in the middle of making some moves, but I want to talk to you for 10 quick minutes, or I want to speak with you for 5 quick minutes as I'm running out the office. I don't have a lot of time, okay? Now, you can do this even if someone's calling you. You can say, hey, and they say, hey, are you busy? Can I talk to you? You say, you know what? I can talk. I got about 10 minutes. I'm getting ready to run, but I can talk for 10 minutes. And so what this does, it allows you to get to the point quicker, right? And then if you want to go longer than 10 minutes, you can, but I advise you to keep it at 10 minutes because now you're showing people that you do what you say that you're going to do. So tell people those time parameters and say, hey, I only have a certain amount of time available, but let's go. I can talk right now. Cool. So that's the second thing. That's very, very important. You want to apply this. This will change everything. Now, before I go forward, I got to tell you, this third thing should have been the first thing I said. And because it's super important, this is going to change everything. It's going to change your game when it comes to communicating. Are you ready for it? All right. So the third thing is this. Communicating like a boss is really all about a vibe. It's really all about your attitude and not about your words all the time. Keep this in mind. It's about your attitude and not just the words that you choose. See, so many people get caught up on what exactly should I say? I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let me tell you a secret. It's very difficult to say the wrong thing to the right person. And it's also difficult to say the right thing to the wrong person. That means if someone isn't interested in you or interested in what you got to sell, sometimes it doesn't matter what you say, right? Or if it's a bad time for them, it doesn't matter what you're going to say. Many times it's just a bad time. And so when you keep this in mind, this will help you go through the numbers, okay? So again, it's all about your attitude and a vibe, because you can go up and say the wrong thing, but if people like you and like your energy, guess what? They're still going to laugh and still be attracted to you, because most of communication is really about an energy. People liking the energy, they like what you're about, they like who you are, they like your vibe and your attitude and your confidence. So that's number 3. Remember, it's all about your vibe, your confidence, guys. All right? Okay, so now number 4, I want you to be clear and be specific. Be clear, be clear, be clear. Now, there's 2 ways that people communicate. This is how you can tell the difference between a boss and someone who values their time and someone who doesn't value their time a lot, or someone who doesn't have a lot of value, is if they're clear and specific or if they're very vague all the time. So what happens is people that are like not in sales or they're weak, what they'll do is they'll ask a really vague question, and it's a time wasting question. So they'll say, hey, so what are you doing tomorrow? Right? Now they'll ask a question like that. And if you're a busy person, you know, busy person, we got a lot on my schedule. That's a very loaded question. You know, I got a whole lot I'm doing. I got a long agenda. So it's not, so why are you asking me what am I doing tomorrow? What's the purpose of that question? So if you're really a boss and you're talking from one boss to another, then you want to be specific and you want to say and talk about why you're asking your question and say, hey, here's a strong way to communicate by getting to the point and ask a question and say, you know what, tomorrow, I want to meet you for lunch at 12 o'clock noon at Jackson's restaurant. Is that something you can do? See, I got straight to the point. So now I don't care about what you're doing all day tomorrow. I want to know, can you go to lunch at 12 noon tomorrow? See, both of those questions, I really wanted to take you to lunch. But the first way I asked it in so general, and guess what? If I would have just said, hey, what you want to do tomorrow? And you would have said, if I would have said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I would have told you, well, you know, I'm busy like I am every day. And you would have said, oh, okay, well, that's okay. I'll just try to take you out to lunch another time. Well, hold on. You know, I didn't know you wanted to go to lunch. So now we have to do more and more unnecessary communicating. And if you're a boss that really, really irritates you because you don't have a lot of time to be on the phone anyway, especially if you're talking to a person who you want to really meet with them and you know they don't have a lot of time, the key is get directly to the point with them. Hey, can you meet at lunch for 12 tomorrow at Jackson's restaurant? Oh, and if they say no, well, hey, what's the next time you can meet for lunch on, you know, from Monday through Wednesday? So you want to be very clear and specific. All right. That's number 4. The next thing, 5, is avoid using a lot of filler words. Now, this is one that is when you're avoiding rambling. You hear people talk all the time and they're just going on and on and on and they're just rambling. And it's like, well, okay, what's your point? It's like you're wasting time again. So it's no filler words. I was maybe, possibly. It's like you don't want to come off unsure and you don't want to just be rambling. So this is something that the no filler words is something where it's not always a mandatory thing. You can still use filler words and still be communicating like a boss. But this is something you want to practice on, because the better you can not ramble, the more people will take you more serious because you're clear, you're confident, you know what you want. I want you to keep in mind what I said at the beginning is the less you say, the less people will judge you. The less you say, the less people will judge you. Okay, keep this in mind. And if you're just rambling, now people are listening to your rambling and now they're judging you outside of what you're saying. So now you seem incongruent. How can you be this important person and how can you value my time when you don't even value your own time? Right now, people are beginning to judge you on a subconscious level. So this is very, very important that you avoid rambling, avoid filler words, things like that. 6, it's you want to be clear on certain words you want to be watch out for, right? In the English language, certain words, you stay away from weak words and use strong words when necessary. Okay. This is one of those things where it doesn't always work, but you got to know when to use strong words and when to avoid using weak words, right? You got to know what words work and when certain situations. Like, for example, the words like if, hope, and but. If you're using if, hope, and but many people use it the wrong way and it makes them sound weak. For example, if you might say a question like, we got our company and if we got these goals, if we succeed our goals, we will be able to be the number one company in the world. Or let's say you're trying to date someone and say, hey, if we ever get together, you will really like me a lot, right? You don't want to use if, because if is weak. If is like it may happen, it may not happen, you're not sure. Bosses are confident. People want to know that you're sure. Even if you're not for certain, you want to sound like you are, right? So you want to say, instead of if, say when. Say, listen, when we start a relationship, you are going to love the relationship. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Be sure. Look, you're going to love it. I promise you, you're going to love it. So even though that's somewhat of a lie, you don't know if they're going to love it or not, but you got to be confident that you think they will love it because you love it so much. So instead of if, say when. Another example is the word hope. If you say hope, that's a weak word. Instead of hope, you might want to say will. If you think about it, if you were to go to a doctor and you needed a heart surgery and you say, doctor, is this heart surgery, am I going to survive? And they say, well, we hope that you survive this. Now you're going to be worried. You're going to be very worried. Oh my God, I might not even want to go to this doctor. But if the doctor says, listen, you will survive, right? Remember, nothing is guaranteed in the world. But if you make them feel comfort and you make them feel like you have stability, they're going to want to work with you because people are seeking stability, right? And your communication is the first sign of you showing stability when you say will versus saying hope. Now, again, there are certain situations where using hope is good and using if is good, but we could talk about that in another video. But usually you got to know when those situations are. Okay. Also, saying words like but, you got to watch out for the word but, because whenever you hear the word but, that means it's something negative before then. So if a person says, you know what, today's a beautiful day, but it's raining outside, you got to realize what they're really saying is it's really not a beautiful day outside. So if someone tells you, you know what, I really like your products, but your prices are too high, what they're really saying is they really don't like your products. So you want to keep them when you listen to that word but and understand that it's really negative regarding whatever they're saying. So be aware of that and try not to use that as much when you're speaking with people. Okay. The next thing, what are we on? 8? I don't know if we're on 7 or 8. I lost track. I'm just freestyling here, guys. I'm freestyling. But the next one, I would say 8 is don't take yourself too serious. If you're a boss and you're a person that's out here, you're looking to build business, you're looking to date, don't be too serious. People like people who have fun and don't take themselves too serious. So when you speak, have fun, be playful. I mean, don't try to impress people but you don't take yourself too serious. Don't be afraid of making fun of yourself and cracking jokes on yourself, sometimes. But do it in a way where it's literally lighthearted, because people like to laugh. You get people to laugh. Remember, funny equals money. So don't be too serious, because you don't want to seem like you're emotionally connected if a person does something or not. Because if people feel like you telling them no is going to hurt you and you're going to feel emotional about it, then a lot of people will say no to you, because they don't like people. Money doesn't like going somewhere where someone is desperate, right? People don't like investing in desperate people. They like investing in people that are confident, because when you're desperate, who knows, you may not make the right decision. So you want to have fun. Don't be so serious. Don't come off too desperate. Don't come off too emotional, like you're going to be hurt, in terms of you don't be too connected to the emotional outcome. So focus on the income and not the outcome, right? All right. So number 9, and this is very, very important. Say people's names. Find out what their name is. If their name is Jackson, say that name when you speak to them. Say, listen, Jackson, listen, this is a great video. Jackson, I really appreciate this video. You're pretty good at what you do, man. I really like this. Is absolutely one of the best videos I've ever heard when it comes to communication. Jackson, thank you very much. So when you repeat people's name, now don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, remember, a tactic that's known is a tactic that is blown. That means people are going to see straight through you. But use their name a few times. One, is going to help you remember their name. And if you know me, I'm really bad with remembering names. So when you repeat their name, it means you help them remember it. Plus, people like hearing their name. It feels like you've known each other, right? When you can tell jokes, you can say their name. Many times when you do it the right way, people will like it. And the right way to do it is just by being natural, being authentic, and having fun, right? Not trying to, be so serious or trying to sell people. Just have fun and be yourself. All right. Very last thing I'll say is you want to honestly follow up with people. And when I say honestly follow up, so let's say I gave you an example of, I said, we got a date. I said, hey, I want to meet you for lunch tomorrow, or lunch on Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon, meet at Jackson's restaurant. Cool. Yeah, let's meet. And so listen, this is what I'll do. So I'll contact you on Wednesday morning. I'll send you a text message just to confirm, to make sure that we're on the same schedule. That's fine. Cool. So you want to give a follow-up confirmation. Those are always good. So that way, because people get busy. So you always want to follow up, make sure you're on the same page. This also works if you meet somebody in a networking event. Guess what? If you don't follow up, there's no fortune. There's no closing the deal. The fortune is in the follow up. People do all of this work to meet new people, and then they never follow up with those people. Trust me, some of your best money will come from you mastering following up with people. So this is a small way to follow up by giving people a phone conversation, or you can follow up by just, hey, I'm going to meet you through a text message. I'm going to meet you and I'm going to send a text message to you, or follow up with them 10 times just to make sure they want your business. Don't be thirsty, but definitely be persistent to follow up with them. And I say honestly follow up, and honest is important because you want to be honest. If you cannot make an appointment, be clear, let people know in advance. Also, when you're speaking, be honest, because if you don't know something, just say, you know what, I don't have the right answer for that. That's not my expertise. I don't want to give you the wrong information. People will respect you for that. Okay. So be honest. So remember, we talked about a lot. I just kind of go through those really quick. We talked about the power of getting to the point. We talked about you do not want to waste time, because bosses and authorities, they value their time. We also talked about giving people time of measurements. You want to say, hey, I only got a certain amount of time that I can speak. So you give them a time expectation. We talked about the power of having a vibe and an attitude makes everything, not just your words. It's all about your attitude and your mindset, your approach. Then we talked about the power of being clear, being specific, and speaking with strong words and avoiding those weak words. Then we spoke about not rambling or using filler words. It's very important. Then we went from that and we talked about specifically avoiding words like if, hope, and when. If, hope, and but, and how you can replace those with the powerful words. And also we talked about not being so serious, in addition to saying people's names when you speak to them, and honestly giving people a follow-up date, or following up with people as honestly as possible. So follow these things, and I promise you that your communication will grow, and not just in terms of your confidence, but even in terms of people, how they treat you, and then the money that you probably even get, and the resources that you grow. Not even probably, but you will get if you do it consistently enough. I guarantee that. Now, with that being said, make sure you follow this page. If you got any additions that you want to add that you think that I didn't mention that inside of the comment section as well. If you agree with any of these, definitely let me know which one stood out the most to you in the comment section, and make sure you like and subscribe to our pages. Also, click those links in below, because we got products and books and online classes to help you continue to grow yourself. Remember, your communication equals your wealth, baby. So let's get it in that order. Place your order. I am Jackson 360, your platform partner, your hustler homie, and I am here to see you reach your goals.